But first up, Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi, who talks to us from his office in Schaumburg. Let's get fired up. Like many of your Illinois delegation colleagues, you're getting hundreds of calls from people who are having trouble getting their unemployment insurance benefits. What's gone wrong there?
Well, I think that one of the big issues at the start of this crisis was that although Congress had authorized for self-employed individuals, independent contractors, and gig workers to receive unemployment compensation, almost no state's unemployment system was actually designed to handle those types of claims. And so, essentially the initial crush of applicants from folks like those categories really created a bottleneck. Anyway, fast forward.
Should there be a role here for the feds? Should there be a role for them to step in and be doing something if this drags on?
Yeah, quite possibly, yes, because I think that it does involve, a different type of system. It involves handling different type of paperwork. If you are employed with a W-2, all the prior systems were handled or were set up to handle W-2 paperwork, not 1099s, which is what gig workers receive. So, yes, I do think that the federal government should step in with some additional resources and maybe even some technical help.
So there has been, you guys in the House, the Democrats who run the House, have passed a new coronavirus relief bill. Mitch McConnell and leading Republicans say it's dead on arrival. They say, for one thing, a number of Republicans in the Senate have said the unemployment benefits are too rich, too lucrative. People are staying home instead of going back to work to collect that rich check.
Yeah, I respectfully but strongly disagree with Majority Leader McConnell. I think that right now we're just seeing a lot of people going through a lot of pain, a lot of businesses suffering, and for the first time on a more broad scale basis, we're getting people calling in for food aid, and it's very sad, especially when they have children. And so I believe right now we need to have more assistance, especially for state and local governments, which are on the brink of financial collapse. A lot of places are about to lay off hundreds, if not thousands, of police officers, firefighters, EMS, and people, quite frankly, we need to fight the pandemic right now.
Well, could I ask you about that? Because, as you know, McConnell and others, including the Tribune editorial page and members of Illinois Republicans, have said no bailout for the pension funds. The money is just they're in a death spiral, some of them, and good riddance.
Well, I think the fact of the matter is, regardless of whether you had issues with your pension funds before this pandemic, now almost every state and local government has been affected negatively and in a significant way. I'll just give you an example. Here in the suburbs, most of my local elected officials are actually nonpartisan officials. They're not Democrats or Republicans. They have to balance their books on a cash basis, on a yearly basis. And I'm getting letter after phone call, after email, after text message, basically saying, look, Raja, we need help now.
Well, they're the ones that are laying off police and firefighters. There was the mayor in East Peoria who's desperate to reopen because they're running out of money and they've had to lay off first responders.
Yes, sir. I'm from Peoria, and that's a perfect example of an area that is actually you could call it a Republican area or maybe a red part of the state. These folks, they're not asking for much. They're just asking for some help to make up for some revenue shortfalls that are pandemic induced and have nothing to do with pension obligations in a lot of cases.
So do you think you can get the president and Senate Republicans to go along with another multi-trillion-dollar relief bill, which some call a bailout bill?
I think that they're going to have to do something sooner rather than later, because I'm telling you that these states and local governments, if they don't get this assistance, are going to be laying off millions of people, just like in the last Great Recession. And what we found based on what happened the last time is that laying off millions of people deepens the recession, so it makes it worse. And in this case, it harms our ability to fight the pandemic. So I personally think that they're going to have to act.